Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bahashim Kudash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishop of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us is true. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. Shalom and salutations to all the Aquath listening and learning, being a pillar of rest, both of you. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily Update. We're going to make it real quick. We're going to read Revelation 17 and 16 with understanding. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, he shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Read it in the NLT. The beast and the 10 horns you saw will hate the prostitute. Okay, the beast and the 10 horns, NATO and the EU, okay, will hate the prostitute. Who's the prostitute? America. Okay, the whore that satteth upon the beast, right? So at one time they were together and then they turned on her. NATO and the EU turned on America. It says they will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They're going to expose her for all of the wickedness they've been doing against them, even though at one time they were together, like they are over in Ukraine right now. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. What do you mean burn her with fire? They're going to shoot those missiles on her, those nukes. The beast, NATO and the EU, right? They're going to turn on America, because we know that Russia is fighting against too. Russia is fighting against America. Right now, NATO and the EU are fighting with America against Russia. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Against who? Against Babylon. Russia, America. That's who Russia's fighting against. In a proxy war. NATO, the European Union, and America are all together right now. But the jig is almost up. Right? The scarlet beast and his 10 horns all hate the prostitute. Prostitute is America. The scarlet beast, right, is the revived Roman Empire dealing with the 10 horns are the vassals, right, of the Roman Empire. NATO and the EU. They're together now. They're going to turn on the prostitute. Strip her naked, eat her flesh, and burn her remains with fire. Basically, that union is going to come to naught. And then they're going to cause a mutiny, if you will. All right, so it's just a little information going in. Let's see. So the elder apostle made a video today, and he suggested that we subscribe to this channel, The Dive with Jackson Hinkle. And I did, and here's the information he's got. U.S. admits Ukraine is done. Now, how does the U.S. admit Ukraine is done when it was the U.S. that goaded them into that whole thing in the first place? Now you're pulling a Vietnam. You're pulling an Afghanistan, right? Now you're trying to get the hell up out of there, right? How is that going to make the European Union feel? What do you mean Ukraine is done? That's not what we planned on, right? All right, so we're going to pick up, like, what is this, 6:45 in, listen to this, all right? 4 hours ago, by the way. Take it away, Jackson.
Tokenized and it will lose its power. However much they've tried to stop and fight against the centralization of power in Russia as well as in communist China, they have failed immensely. And now, for the first time, it seems as though people are waking up. U.S. officials admit they miss opportunity for Ukraine peace. American officials have told Politico that they may have missed a window to push for peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Speaking anonymously, they conceded that Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley had a point when he offered a grim pronouncement on Kiev's chances for victory last year. More than 2 months into Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russia, Kiev has failed to capture more than a handful of hamlets and villages in the Zaporozhye region and has lost at least 43,000 men and nearly 5,000 pieces of equipment in the process. That's a lot. So, although the Ukrainian government still insists it can retake all of its claimed territory by force, Washington is increasingly unsure. Quote, we may have missed a window to push for earlier talks, a U.S. official told Politico on Friday, adding that Milley had a point. Speaking in New York in November, Milley said that a military victory would likely be unachievable for Ukraine and that Kiev could use the wintertime pause in fighting to enter negotiations with Moscow and avoid any further losses. Boy, can you imagine if they had done that? I mean, they had all of Kharkov, they had Kherson, and now look, they're losing Kharkov. Russia is taking settlement after settlement, edging closer and closer to Kupiansk. And once Kupiansk falls, then boom, they're going to be pushing through all of the Kharkov region because that is the center focal point of the administration zone in Kharkov. And, you know, Kherson is just on the horizon, then follows Nikolaev, then Odessa. Imagine if they had actually done that. Imagine if they had pushed for peace. Putin's not stopping. He just visited the Ukraine military operation headquarters of the Russian Federation. And he basically, you know, said, okay, looks like everything's going well here. The president received classified briefings from Gerasimov and other senior commanding officers involved in the military operation. Russian state media shared a video of the rare visit, which shows the head of the general staff greeting Putin at the headquarters ahead of the closed-door meeting. However, it remains unclear when exactly the meeting took place. All right? I mean, Russia's literally parading NATO and Ukrainian captured war trophies around Moscow and St. Petersburg at the moment. They know they've got this in the bag. That's why they're saying that Ukraine faces a grim future. The West is fighting to the last Ukrainian on a fool's errand to defeat Russia. Fool's errand, I'd say, is a generous characterization of what's happening.
Let's stop right there for a second. So, right now, okay, Europe is looking at this and saying, well, wait a minute, nigga. It's finna get cold out here. Here comes the winter. We ain't got no Nord Stream. We ain't got no gas pipeline. The Nigerian pipeline that was supposed to be in place is now under dispute. We're going to freeze out here, and you guys don't give a damn? So they're going to turn. They're going to turn on America. All right?
Right now, but the prospects for that plan are not looking good. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told International Affairs in an interview published on Saturday. By the way, Lavrov's headed to New York. He's going to be speaking at the United Nations. The future looks rather grim for the Kiev authorities and their patrons, Lavrov said. The longer the armed clashes last, the less appetite will the Western investors have to contribute to post-conflict recovery in Ukraine, and the weaker their faith in Ukraine's success on the battlefield or its ability to preserve its statehood in any form or within any borders. It seems as though we've been hearing a lot more recently, about Ukraine losing its statehood. That would be a worrying sign if I was a Ukrainian governmental official right now. And that is probably why, you know, the Ukrainian lawmakers right now just convened in the Verkhovna Rada to rule out territorial concessions to Russia. Oh, yeah, definitely no territorial concessions. Russia will not have Crimea. Russia will not have Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporozhye, Kherson, 87,000 square kilometers of territory that they control. That's excluding Crimea, by the way. The Ukrainian government should never cede any of the country's territories to end the conflict with Russia, a group of Ukrainian MPs has argued. The proposed statement came days after a NATO official suggested that Kiev could abandon its claims to territories that voted to join Russia in exchange for membership in the US led military alliance. Now, keep in mind, it wasn't just the chief of staff to Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, it was also former French President Sarkozy. Sarkozy, I think that's his name. He also said, we should have these internationally monitored referendums in these regions, and they should decide for themselves whether or not they want to join the Russian Federation.
Peace deal. Let's sit down at the table and come up with a peace deal. Right? Let's get that peace and what? Let's see what the script says. The overall script of the movie says, 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. When people are saying, well, we missed a chance, right? We missed a chance to sit down at the table. Isn't that what they said? Back to 7. It says, bear with me. U.S. officials admit they missed opportunity for Ukraine. What? Why is there not going to be any peace? Because God is in control. Isaiah 13:17 again. Look, I, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, will stir up the Medes against Babylon. They cannot be tempted by silver or bribed with gold. Nothing is going to stop the Russians. No peace deal. No nothing from doing what they're doing. Okay? Ain't going to be no peace deal. Things are going to continue on the way they are right now, and there's no hope for Ukraine, which is going to cause that alliance to splinter into a million pieces like the CIA, according to JFK, right, which never happened, but it ain't going to happen, all right? So quickly, I want to do this, all right? The NUM, V-I-E-T, Vietnam, helicopter, ESCAPE. What happened at the end of Vietnam? A lot of people died in Vietnam. Only for what? Okay. What did America do at the end? This.
We've been part of
Slovakia. This is what America is doing in Ukraine right now. Okay? It's what America always does.
chaos. All your regulations went out the door that day.
There was tremendous confusion.
It was like a tsunami of people.
So the North Vietnamese chased the United States out of Vietnam.
Jerry Berry, 25-year Marine pilot, flew the ambassador out of Saigon in 1975.
Tony Colson flew with Air America from 1970 to 1975. We never did get the word that the evacuation has begun. It evolved. That's the only way I can describe it. It just evolved.
People, lorries and cars, all chasing one American evacuation convoy after the other.
The streets
Yeah.
are full. The embassy grounds are absolutely packed with people. My first trip into the embassy was strictly to get the ambassador, and he.
And your mental limitations. When you would
Shut up.
land,
Oh, that's a
you'd
Jolly
just be
Green
mobbed
Giant.
by people. And so you look back and you can see everybody climbing in. You can feel the helicopter rock a little bit. Who knows how many were back there? I have no idea. You just slowly start to lift up. Occasionally you'd take off, and out of total desperation that they were hanging on to the skids.
This is America getting chased the fuck out of Vietnam. This right here is people trying to get on this one bird, little Huey, right? This is a ladder going up to the last little, I think this is a U.S. embassy or whatever. They had to land on top of that, and these people, there's a grip of people all around, and just these people are able to get a what? 12 people on one bird? It was bad. All right.
They were structurally sound. You've always got something that is going to be in your path. You taxi forward, now you're looking straight down, about 4 stories. So the helicopter is always hanging by a thread, so to speak. The only way you could describe it, it was like swarms of helicopters. That's the way it was swarms of them.
And they wound up, because there were so many people on the ship, they had to throw the helicopters off into the ocean.
Hancock and
They were
Midland,
done.
both out there. They were both big deck fixed wing carriers, and they changed them over, repainted the spots, and made them helicopter carriers for the evacuation of Saigon. Deck space is very limited. I mean, every one of the ships pushed some helicopter over the side. There was just no room for them. And you had no choice. You had to clear the decks and make room for the evacuation. It's an interesting question.
Okay, so you saw that, right? Why did they leave all of that military equipment in Afghanistan? Look familiar? Now, in the previous video, we saw the Vietnamese that they were trying to get on the plane. Those were the ones that were helping the Americans. You leave them there, what's going to happen to them? That's why there's a bunch of Vietnamese over here, because they were sympathizers with the Americans. And then America just got up and left. That's what's going on right here in Afghanistan. This is 2 years ago. Look at this. All right. Now, what's going on in Ukraine right now? We're watching this all happen again. The Russians are going in. They're going to take Kiev, and anybody left there, Americans are saying, "Oh, we're out. We're out of there," right? And then we're going to get to what? Slovakia. The beast and the 10 horns you saw will hate the prostitute. We're coming close to that. Right? They will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right? Why are they going to do that? Slovakia. We're going to end on this. I can pull this back up. Where was it? What does this say? Slovakia, bear with me. U.S. admits Ukraine is done. Okay, they know. What do? Ukraine is done. What's America going to do? What they always do. All right, we're out. Right? That's what they do. Old news. Anyway, so U.S. already knows that the handwriting is on the wall, right? And what happens? They get on their planes and they leave. They get in their helicopters. And they say, all right, see ya. So this is where it's going. We're getting closer and closer to what? All right? The lake of fire, which is America burning with nuclear fire. All right, so with that, we hope that the elect are edified. We'll end it right there. You brothers and few sisters, shalom.